You're an ideal candidate for a Cupid because you keep playing with your wood.
That's
the opening.
That's recorded.
That just happened.
It's true. Let's do this.
Welcome.
We need to do the title. Yeah. So, what's the catch on this guy?
Tell me you're gonna sing the song. Sing the song. That'll never be in there.
Yeah, because you don't edit or watch them.
Well, that's true. If it wasn't there, I probably wouldn't.
No.
We can have the Loch Lomond make us pancakes.
Yeah.
We'll have shit in our glasses.
Wish I could say the same about you bitches.
Game Loch Lomond.
It's the shirts versus the blouses. You know where you bought that shirt from, and it damn sure wasn't the men's department.
Darling picky. Computer blue.
Loch Lomond. It's our first time going to the Loch. We're going to check out what this is all about. The 18-year-old, there's a lot of whiskeys coming out of this distillery. This is going to be our first.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys, it is Scotch for Dummies.
4 guys on a Scotch journey to help you with your next Scotch purchase.
And
Which could be from the Loch.
The Loch.
The Loch Lomond.
Not little.
whether you take
Not
the
little.
high road or the low road,
Right? We're gonna sing it later.
I don't know.
No, we're not.
No.
So we've never touched this guy.
We've never done this distillery.
18-year-old.
And it's actually a pretty cool distillery. So this is their namesake whiskey that comes out of this distillery. But there are 11 other single malt and grain whiskeys that are produced in this place. It's got grains at 3 different peat levels. They have an unpeated, a 25 parts per million, and a 50 parts per million.
Ooh.
They have 3 different kinds of stills, including obviously a continuous still for their grain whiskeys. They have a cooperage on site. They employ 4 or 5 full-time coopers. They repair or build like 20,000 barrels a year. There's a lot going on at this
This is
place.
a big distillery.
It's not your mama's distillery.
No.
How do you do 20,000 barrels with only 5 Coopers?
You
They're
work
very
fast.
busy.
That's a lot of wood.
Sense of urgency, my friend.
Says this guy.
So this distillery was built in 1964. If you go to if you go to their 1964.
1964.
If you go to the company's website, they'll talk about the old distillery, which was on the very northern end of Loch Lomond, which is north of Glasgow.
Referred to as the tip.
There's really no written records, and they subtly say, well, there wasn't a lot of history things going on at that point. Yeah, so there's not much written records. They know there was a distillery up there, but it was gone a long time ago. So really the namesake is the Loch, and this distillery is on the other end. So it's not near,
Completely different.
not anywhere near where the original site was.
Same body of water.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it was started by the people that own Little Mill Distillery. They started in '64. Early '80s, it shut down when the whiskey boom went bust.
Yep.
A couple years later, it was picked up by a company that did blended whiskeys. And one of the things that a lot of these companies wanted to do was kind of bring all that production in-house. So they added some continuous stills. They've got regular pot stills, and then they've got like some weird straight pot stills. So there's 3 different kinds of stills in the distillery. They've got different platings inside the stills, so they can pull off the new make at different alcohol levels, which is producing different, characteristics on the new make. So apparently they can produce just a lot of different kinds of whiskeys out of this one place.
Didn't you say something about the plates having kind of a little bit of a hit and miss with the society?
Yeah, the Scotch Whiskey Association has had some issues, I guess, over the years. They've had some problems with the straight still because it's not kind of a traditional pot still with the swan neck or whatever.
It looks like a still. It is a still.
It's just kind of a different kind of place. But if you were looking to be able to produce different styles of whiskey and then blend them into different kinds of blends, like this is the place you would want to go.
Well, interestingly enough, because it's all done there, they can still label it as single malt. It's not really
Well,
a blend.
So, well, I'm sorry.
Man down.
So this is technically, I mean, it is a single malt.
Yes.
They produce like Inchmuren there and Inchmoen, and several others that are single malts, but they're using different peated,
mash bills,
basically different mash bills. They're using unpeated, slightly peated, heavily peated. They're pulling off the new make at different plate levels, so there's different alcohol content.
But
they're cutting it at different places.
Yeah.
what I was saying is, with the laws of the SWA, it's all being distilled at the same location. They could mix all that and still call it single malt.
Sure.
Yeah, but not if they're making it as a grain.
No, and it depends on the still it's coming off of.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a unique place that makes whiskey in Scotland.
And they're doing 5 million liters a year of malt and 20 million liters of grain
Wow.
a year.
And you said something to the fact off camera that some of the grain is still 100% malt.
Yeah.
They just have to call it grain.
Right. So it's because it's made in the continuous still. It's not made in a pot still. So it's a very unique distillery. There's several other ones after doing some research on it that I want to get into. But I'm very excited to try this one. This one,
Okay.
So the Loch Lomond series, I guess for lack of a better word, is made with unpeated and slightly peated barley. And it's supposed to be, a lighter, fruitier style, I guess. This is aged in American ex-bourbon. And obviously it's 18 years old. This is 46 ABV, I believe. And we're talking no non-chill filter.
It is non-chill filter, yeah.
So I don't think we know about any coloring added. I don't think
We couldn't tell. Yeah.
they make a claim on
It's
that.
not particularly dark, but
But that doesn't mean they didn't put some into
For consistency level.
yeah.
So it's interesting. It's different. I wasn't expecting a nose. I'll give you a hint. The palate's definitely a little bit different. But the nose so far, I got two major things: hay and pumpkin. Like
Okay,
when
I
you're
got the
carving
hay.
a pumpkin.
I'll give you that.
I'm getting new oak in there. What smells like new oak to me.
I got
that I definitely get the hay. The straw's
had-
getting grassy and
tapioca when I first put my nose in there, but then the hay started coming in, like that dry grass kind of thing. And I'll give you the pumpkin. Does it taste like pumpkin?
No.
no.
But it made me sneeze for some reason. I don't know why.
He's allergic to pumpkin.
Huh.
Pumpkin spice.
Okay.
Ooh,
A little edgier than I was anticipating.
I got pumpkin.
Hmm?
I did. That's
Okay.
it's
So-
it's got a hint of smoke.
46.
It was like chewing on the newly ground malt.
There's a finish there. That's
Lots,
for sure.
lots of white pepper in the finish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like straight down the middle of your tongue.
Uh-huh.
That first palate is like chewing on you can get the dried malt they used to ferment. Take some of that and put it in your mouth. That's what's like you munching on that.
Yeah.
I'm getting that really
So-
malty, or the malt grain.
After the
Or-
first sip, I can get the malt on the nose underneath the grass now. The hay, straw, grassy. Underneath it, I can smell that malt now after I've taken
bread,
the first.
barley.
It's a little bigger and bolder than I thought it would be.
Sure.
I mean,
It's actually getting better as I let it sit and as I let it wash over my palate and then I nose it again. It really is bringing out more flavor and more complexity.
Price point on an 18.
$75-$80.
That's a deal.
That is a deal.
I mean, right off the
Wow.
bat, you think yourself. I mean, how many 18s are out there that are coming under $90? I can name a couple 18s that are in the 150 range.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can
it's-
name a
it's
couple.
tough.
I can name at
That
least
are
one
more.
18 that's more than that, right? So for the fact that they're coming in at that price point, it makes me. It's something I want to actually ponder for a little while. I wonder if they can actually afford to do that because they produce just massive amounts
course
of
they
grain
can.
whiskey.
Yeah.
Half of these barrels are probably lost in the back of the warehouse. They didn't realize they were there. They looked at them.
I mean,
oh, they're 18 years
seriously.
old.
Seriously, when you're
mean-
cranking out 20 million liters of grain whiskey, it affords you a little flexibility on your price
sure.
point on your single malt.
I mean, to be perfectly fair, most single malt distillers, that's what they do. They are single malt distillers.
Right.
And they are selling some of their product to blenders for blended whiskey, but they're not doing it themselves. Whereas these guys, I mean, grain whiskey is reasonably cheap to make.
Oh yeah.
And so they're cranking out whiskey, and they're producing all of their own styles to make blends with. I will say for $75, I was honestly coming into this. I won't name the distilleries, but there was a couple that I was like, those are discount single malt. You know what I mean? And you get an 18-year from them, and you're like, yeah, it tastes like more like a 12-year. You know? And so that's kind of the perception I was coming into this with, and it is not that way.
Yeah. So as I go through this and trying to analyze it, it is very much a the new make is the primary flavor. There is some barrel influence, but it's definitely not like your sherry bombs or any of those where the barrel and the flavoring in the barrel is really overpowering. This is a malt whiskey that happens to be aged in bourbon barrels, and you get a little bit of that in there. But that is, you're not trying all these different things that people are doing now with, Cabernet casks or sherry casks or using chocolate malt. I mean, this is.
But it's not super malty
whiskey.
though.
Well, I mean.
Considering what I call super malty, like OP and things like that, it's not the same as maltiness as that.
No, I see this as you're chewing on the barley grains. You're getting bread,
like the fresher,
like a barley bread flavor.
I think once
really
it opened
nice
up, that sweetness and tapioca came out. There was definitely a much more sugar note that came out after it opened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really good, but it's not over sweetened and over sherried and over wine flavored.
On the nose, it's almost like walking through like a grist mill.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that freshly ground grain smell. It's not cooked or anything else. It's just got that nice grain nose to it.
About that.
God, the water brought out even more sugar.
Water is much better.
It's just, it brought out that oak. There's definitely a strong...
It's sweeter now, too, in the palate.
Yep.
The nose actually got a little bit more pumpkin for me. But the palate is definitely sweeter, more honey.
More bourbon-esque,
Maybe even a hint of ginger in there, almost.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But I'm completely with you on this, like new make hay maltiness to it. There's no influence of anything else. It's like that. It's like that's your runway right there. You're
but
just
it's done
You
really
ready?
well.
I am ready, man.
Okay.
Do it up.
Boom. All right. I'm pleasantly surprised, folks. I'm going to tell you, I didn't know what to expect here. First, I want to give props out. A good friend of ours, Mike Highfield, had got this bottle for us moons ago.
Yep.
It got lost in the shuffle back there, and we decided we're going to get this review, and it wasn't even opened yet. I was like,
nope.
Oh, man, what happened to us? So I really didn't know what to expect. 18-year-old at that price point, kind of what Shawn said, you're kind of going into it going, oh, what's wrong with it? Right? So you just open it up. Now, seriously, I love the story of the distillery and what they're doing, but just for this particular bottle, the 18, I really appreciated the nose. Up front, right when you pour it, you need to let it open a little bit. You need to let that waft off a little bit.
Yep.
First sip, pretty edgy, but let it open up, and all of a sudden start getting some sweeter notes. And then the palate really became good. I tell you this much, the palate's really long and chewy for me. I mean, I just kept sitting there like, just trying to scrape the flavor off my tongue. I mean, really put a couple drops of water onto it, and she got better to me. I mean, she opened up even more, got some vanilla, and it softened the edge on the palate, and it got really good. I was about between a 2 and a 2.5, and I put the water on it, and I'm going to give it a 3. I really think the water opened this thing up, and for an 18-year-old at that price point, I think a drop of water on this, and you love this bottle till it's gone. I mean, $75? Really? Okay. I mean, thanks, Mike. I'm sorry we took so long to get to it, because this is a pretty pleasant surprise to me. I did not expect. I thought this was easy coming in at a 2. That's what I thought. Start there, probably go down.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to go up. So kudos to Loch Lomond. I'll take the high road.
I agree with Mark on almost all his points. It's really a nice classic malty or barley flavored whiskey. It is well done in that target flavor profile. It's not maybe my perfect wheelhouse, but it's really well done for that. It is not really complex, admittedly. Not a lot of different flavors in it. But I really enjoy I think it's an unchill filtered in this. It's got that really long finish. chewing on a piece of bread. I mean, it's really kind of nice and refreshing to do that. And when you get in this world now where everything is over flavored, so a lot of the whiskeys can be over flavored with the different finishes. This is just a really nice bottle. It's at least a 2.5. At that price point, I would probably put this at a 3. I would agree with Mark, because you can have a bottle on the bar, you can drink it, and you're not worried about drinking it because it's not that expensive, but it's still really good, and you can do anything with it while you're drinking it. You can mix it, you can put it on rocks, you could. I don't know if I would, but because I'm afraid you lose that good bready barley. I'd lose that. So.
It's also the official spirit of the Open. Just so you
Okay.
I'm not as impressed as you guys on this one.
okay.
I'll take the Lowland.
Or the low road.
The road, whatever. So, I mean, here's the deal. The price is right. Absolutely. The ABV is not bad. 46, right? And it's 18 year. But I'm not getting a whole lot. I mean, everything you guys are saying is right. It's a little edgy. It's kind of that maltiness. We talked about hay, and it's pumpkin for me, and it's kind of one-dimensional. So here's the thing that I'm asking myself, too. I'm trying to figure out. I'm between a 2 and a 2.5 at this point. I'm thinking to myself, if I'm at home, am I going to pour a second glass of this, or maybe a third? And I'm probably not, because the finish for me isn't really that great. It's okay. If you pour me a glass, I'm going to drink it. It's good, but I'm not like, wow, this is awesome. So I'm a little disappointed for that. I'm going to go 2.5 because of the price variance of this.
You pour him into the glass.
He said, "You pour me a glass, I'm gonna drink it." Sure, so I pour him a glass.
He poured me a glass.
I didn't see that coming at all.
I'm gonna drink it.
Chew on that.
That's amazing. I'm going to say that every time now. I poured myself a second glass of this one. I have to say, I came into this, I really didn't know anything about the distillery. I didn't know anything about the Scotch. I will admit, fairly low expectations of the Scotch based on the price point and the fact that it was a massive production facility.
Right.
So they're cranking out 11 different kinds of spirit. Like, how much time and care can you put into each one of those, right? I mean, really.
Right.
It's just a matter of there's only so many hours in a day to go around, and you've got to have somebody that cares about the spirit to really make good spirit, So if it's an industrial facility that's just really making a component for something else, how much care is put into that? And, now they're putting it into a bottle, and, they're selling it as a single malt, and it is. But what am I going to get out of this glass? So my expectations, admittedly, were pretty low. Yeah. But I thought it was very nice. It has a smoky quality that I didn't see coming, which I enjoyed. I really liked the hay and the pumpkin because I don't know that I've ever had that on a Scotch nose before. And it was, and then with a little bit of water, it opened up a little bit more. It got sweeter. I just thought it was a nice glass, and at $75, I'm going to pour myself a second one because it's $75 for an 18-year. I don't even feel guilty about it. I might even have a third one when I hit the stop button on the recorder here. So, I thought it was good. Now, I will admit that the flavor profiles don't deviate a whole lot. There's not a great depth of character, but I think it's a decent dram and definitely worth trying. So, I'm going to give it a solid 3. I think it's a good 3 for me.
So 3, 2, 5, 3. So 2875.
You got it.
What you're talking about?
There you go.
I'm starting to get good.
You got the math.
So Loch Lomond, check them out. It's definitely worth giving them a try. They do a lot of different labels under Loch Lomond, and then they have Inchmuren and Inchmoen and a bunch of others.
I want to try more of those.
Yeah.
I know I've seen a few of those come through the SMWS.
Yeah.
And so, knowing what I know now about this, I'm
a little
curious
intrigued
about that.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So check us out on Thursday night when we do our live show, and we'll be discussing the Loch Lomond.
The Loch. Hit the like button, the thumbs up, the subscribe, notification bell so you know when we go live. Check us out on what else?
Discord, Twitter,
Yes.
Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah.
Join us on all of them.
Thanks to
We'd
our
love
patrons.
for your comments.
And see you guys soon.
Thanks.
Cheers.